The air thickened, humming with a tension that rivaled the energy of the pulsing crystals. Every sound seemed amplified: the rustle of the Kara guard's bone armor, the labored breathing of Ilara and Sola, and the rhythmic pounding of Aris's own heart. Matriarch Lyassa's violet eyes narrowed, the light within them hardening into glacial points. "Captain Thorne," she said, her voice laced with a chilling calm, "you presume to interfere in matters you do not understand. These sacrifices are vital to the well-being of Xylos." Aris met her gaze, unflinching. "What I understand, Matriarch, is that you are preparing to murder 2 innocent women in the name of a twisted ideology. You speak of balance, but what I see is oppression. What I see is fear disguised as tradition." A gasp rippled through the assembled Kara. The guards shifted nervously, their hands tightening on their intricately carved bone weapons. The silence was broken only by the soft, desperate whimper of Ilara. Aris, knowing that words alone were not enough, took a step forward, placing herself between the matriarch and the altar of balance. "I cannot allow this to happen. I swore an oath to protect the innocent, and I will not stand by while you commit this atrocity." Lyassa's composure finally fractured, her face contorting with a rage that was all the more terrifying for being so long suppressed. "Insolent child of the stars!" she hissed, her voice cracking like thunder. "You dare defy the will of the Earth Mother? You will pay for this blasphemy!" The matriarch raised a hand, and the crystal formations in the chamber began to thrum with a malevolent energy. The Kara guards lunged forward, their bone weapons glinting in the eerie light. "Now!" Aris shouted, drawing her sidearm, a compact energy pistol that hissed with contained power. The command unleashed a carefully orchestrated chaos. Lieutenant J, quick as a viper, drew her own pistol, firing a stunning blast that sent 2 guards collapsing to the ground, their bodies convulsing. Vorlag, with a roar that shook the very foundations of the cavern, charged into the fray, his massive frame a battering ram against the Kara ranks. The Phoenix crew, trained for every conceivable contingency, moved with practiced efficiency, deploying energy shields, sonic disruptors, and a variety of non-lethal weaponry designed to subdue rather than kill. Their goal wasn't conquest, it was rescue. The battle was fierce, brutal, and disorienting. The Kara guards, though smaller than the Crothian warrior, were fierce and surprisingly agile, their bone weapons capable of delivering searing blasts of energy. The crystal formations amplified the chaos, creating unpredictable energy surges that made targeting difficult. Amidst the chaos, Aris saw Sola. Aris saw the pain she had gone through because of everything. There was more to her than the fiery look that she gave. There was time to think, but time to get on with it. Pushing a bone guard. "Are you okay?" Sola looking back at the captain. "I have dealt with much, I can do so again. Help that seer." She pointed at Ilara. Aris nodded and began moving back to the stage. She quickly grabs a pair of handcuffs, but they wouldn't help. Instead, she pulled off a crystal. With a touch, they immediately fell to the ground. The power seemed to dissipate completely without a conductor. Aris quickly grabbed Ilara and headed back to the ship. Aris pushed and shoved, leading them as quickly as she could with Vorlag blocking the way. Ilara's touch brought a sensation she had never felt before. It came with a calmness that also told what was going to happen and to keep on pushing. "We can get out of here now," said Aris. But all Ilara did was shake her head, pointing towards something that she needed to protect. It was in that instance that Aris knew that Ilara could see more than any of them could. That meant something needed to happen. And only then will they truly be safe. As they fought, Aris saw the light coming down towards them. What was the matriarch doing? The floor began to rumble, the earth was reacting to it. This was the power of the Earth Mother. Aris knew then that she was in trouble. The boarding ramp hissed closed, sealing the Phoenix against the crimson dust that swirled outside. Aris watched through the security monitors as technicians began the pre-flight checks, the rhythmic activity a stark contrast to the tense silence that had settled over the bridge. She felt the weight of the responsibility she had just shouldered, the future of 2 alien women now resting on her decisions. Inside the ship, Ilara and Sola stood, a few feet away from each other, rigid and wary in their ill-fitting jumpsuits. Jay had directed them to a small, unused mess hall, attempting to offer them some privacy, but the confines of the ship clearly did little to ease their anxiety. "They're scared, Captain," Jay observed, joining Aris at the monitor station. "I don't think they've ever been off-world before, let alone on a Chimera-class warship." "Scared is an understatement, Jay," Aris responded, her gaze softening as she studied the two women. "They've been raised to believe that their only purpose is to serve, or be sacrificed. They've never known freedom, never had a choice. What do you think they're going to do now? What would you have done at that moment?" "That is true, Captain," Jay replied. "Well, what is the word?" There is a slight pause. With a moment of doubt, the bridge door opened, giving way to Ilara. "This place, it is something that we do not understand. We have had people tell us that our mind is not for technology but for other things," Ilara stated. "She's referring to the ship," Aris responded. "We will get to that. I asked that my bondmate, Sola, will arrive quickly. Are people here okay with that? I do not want them to go ballistic. The way the Mother Earth intended must continue." Aris couldn't lie, "It is too easy. I cannot tell you what to do, just listen to your heart. If your heart tells you to go against the order of this crew, then that is what we will be, but this means there is no turning back. Everyone has to go back here one day at a time." "What is the reason?" Aris responded. Ilara shook their head, moving to face the monitor as she stared into it. "This is like a weapon, something so powerful to make or break something. Our people are going to die if we don't show them this. And you trusted me beforehand. Well, this ship, and what has been on it, proves that it can help with what will come. It will also require the people I work with." "What do you think?" Ilara questioned. Aris looked toward Lieutenant Jay for what to do. Both are at a loss for what may need to come. It was at that time that someone had knocked at the door. "Speak," Aris said. What was here was not a team member, but a team leader. All faces went calm. They can't do anything except follow through and prove themselves to not be traitors to any of this. It was all that was available. All that could be done. Lyra entered the room. "I must request your permission to make a change. To put our skills to the test." "What did you say the other woman, Aris?" The air felt like a feather was flying about, but the situation could go nuclear any second. What a bad time for this to all happen. But they are going to use it to their advantage, and keep pushing forward to be able to prove that they are the right choice. She would see the truth, and change herself from the ways that they were, Lyassa said, making sure to face Elias with those words. "This ship would be everything that we need. That is what must happen for us to actually trust. Is this right, Elias? What else could ever come from this?" The room was all but silent. Every person in that room was trying to discern every move. It was then that Aris understood. What if something might make a difference? Would that turn it around for the better? "This situation, I feel, we have more to lose than to gain. Tell me why we should help you all," Vorlag then shouted. "You have us in a disadvantageous situation." Aris looked with a soft stare directly at Vorlag. "They know, and they are willing. What's the answer? This might be your only chance for a long time. What do you wish to request, Ilara?" Aris finally asked, deciding to cut through the tension. "I need access to this ship's communication system. I can reach out to the others. I can also see that the communication you may send will get twisted." "Fine, it's your call," agreed Aris, then said to the comms. "Set up a safe communication path to Ilara. I will allow the transmissions and take responsibility for any possible breaches." "But Captain," the officer began. "As long as we know what the plan is, as long as we know that this would be what is intended. This action could not be undone at this moment. She needed to trust now, and she knows she has to continue through this." With Jay's assistance, Ilara established a secure comlink, her glowing eyes focused intently on the cascading streams of data that flooded the viewport. Aris watched her, fascinated by the way she seemed to connect with the ship's systems, her mind probing the depths of its digital consciousness. She needed to be a step or two ahead when fighting. "I am reaching out to the others, to those who are safe and willing to assist us," Ilara announced. But I will need some time. Hours crawled by, punctuated by bursts of static and fragments of distorted communication. Aris watched as the strain etched lines on Ilara's face, her connection to the distant Kara mines taking a visible toll. Sola, ever watchful, hovered nearby, providing Ilara with silent support. We make progress, but I'm getting a bad reading. It seems that the connection is getting closer. It's at that time that it happened. An officer barged into the ship. Captain, this is a red alert. We just got word that there was some manipulation of our data from an officer on board. We do not know who. We need an emergency security process to come through. The two new members have looked towards her. Their intentions as true, and they are still trying to do good for them. It's just that it had to prove out whether or not they wanted to commit and go through with it. A trust that only they could see. Then do what needs to be done. I still trust them so. Set it to all non-lethal, Aris announced with a grimness in her. But the officer said, they can all be free of this or not. Then and only then will we know how to proceed. If you trust me, trust my decisions. This needs to go forward. Aris then grabbed Sola and Ilara, before quickly pushing her team into the side. This is the moment. They are all ready, all waiting. I am receiving the information. What we have sought is already close, Ilara stated. What do we do now? We need all of you. It is going to be too fast, otherwise we must be quick, Aris responded. The team listened well. If they didn't, what was the point of bringing in these people all in the first place? What else is there to do if there was not even trust in the crew? They moved as one. A united team that trusted each other, knew what their goals were. The security quickly went, and the path to the Matriarch was in view. Thank you, Aris, thank you to all of you. What could come of this is for all of you to know, Sola stated as she began to move. Do as I know and let us go together. And with that they all moved. Trust was in the air, and if it weren't, they would soon learn the result for each other. A bond unlike any other between those of the stars. The hallways that lied before them were now clear. The people they looked up to were all nothing more than. What will come for them then? Was power? Money? Or to leave them out to dry? The question to these people did matter, or so it seems. They had now reached the chamber. Its very gates held so much power, so much force that only their will can move anything at all. But as they reach, it seems the situation has gone sour all over again. It seems all were defeated. The chamber lies in ruin. What could be so bad about this? Aris said, this power, what could it be now? Did we make the wrong call on where they belong, or where we should be going? Aris looked at Ilara and Sola and the rest of her group before saying, whatever you say, we do it together. They nodded silently. To their surprise, they were already fighting back in an all-out. What appeared to be, was an angel, wielding a crystal of great light. Was that all that had mattered? Was everything for naught? Was all the death and destruction for something so vain? That only a select few will now understand? That is when it happened. The angel came down with great power, but to then, the earth started to rumble again. All knew what the signal said. That was when the ground shook. This power, that is what they can truly use to control people and make sure to give them their power for the taking. Can you do it? What do you need? Aris told her. The power was something only she could control at the end. Please. And for the final strike, Ilara moved forward. All at once they started glowing with power. More and more. All to do what only she could muster. The floor began to shake. Power to power. She could do nothing for too long, but she had to at least push forward. Please, she cried. Suddenly power flowed back towards her, and she was on. A power surge, and all were stunned. When they returned and looked at the woman in charge, they began to cry and were all in shock. She has done something, in order to achieve a place beyond the reach that ever was. Their powers were returned to what they need to be, all was safe and done at the end. With those steps that mattered, all that matters now is, she's about to make a great choice. To show or prove for herself. With all of the power she has in place now, it can truly make or break the universe. This power, all of it lies on her for what may be. To see and believe, to try to find it all with her heart. The angel came down from a stage, finally looking and accepting what is about to come. The world has been shown and now it is time for this. It's in those steps that we all have our answer to what comes next, what is going to happen. All that needs to happen. This was where it will come through, and where every soul knows. There is a way, she says, looking and crying for help or otherwise. Looking on and making what you are going to do, this is the moment. I thank you for everything. And with that Ilara died and merged. With that move, all fell back, and a new power emerged. It was what the doctor said, a new understanding. The power of all of this combined, to make what is meant to be and not what. All of that is for what? Now Ilara was gone, what could be said for them at that moment for what was there? Is there anything we can do then? Aris said. Tell me. Lyassa bowed before her, and what was now before her. The crystal is safe and in good hands. The knowledge that is given proves what our choices are going to be. This was never meant to be for our people, but to see what is about to happen. Our planets and our people have to move on. Elias cried from those words. But was it the truth or what? But this was never the full answer. The planet is going to explode. With their powers combined there is very little they can do. Everyone has to be evacuated and will be up to us for our new home. The planet knows and it is not going to get better. Make what you can. Lyra mentioned. You need a planet for them. Or all of what you are standing for will not come about. Aris turned back towards Sola. Why? Why do they need this? Tell me what you think, or are you just to fight? She needed to know, otherwise her crew could be doomed for what choice may come. Sola looks on. I do not know what your reasons are. All I know is that you are going to get our people there. Do what you will. Do what they are afraid of. After knowing what might be true or not, she gave the order to help the people. The Phoenix is going to give all that is needed. She said it, finally understanding it. It was in that instant, it had finally come to light for what this was to be, what would that truly hold. It was now about to mean what the rest truly was. With the speed they could gather, everything that was needed was taken. All went aboard, and there was no sacrifice for her ship. It truly did fly. It was time to say goodbye to planet Xylos. But before that, I have to show you everything you know. Elias spoke. From her hand an image of what everything was has come into existence. They could be free. And finally they knew they were. Chapter 14, An Uncertain Galaxy. A new home? As they traveled to the stars. One crew member is there talking to Elias. Where will we go then? She asked Elias. I know of the worlds that we can get to. There are planets that the Alliance will not allow us to go to. He responded with sadness. But they can all be safe and make it through to all. What will become will become. They went. It was there where Elias made his declaration. I have a choice. I will not. All of your power to your hands and make a decision for it all what we want to hold. After everything that had been done, all. What might all change? Sola has come into the room as the declaration spoke. We have made contact with your friends. All said in unison. It is what will become. They can only believe and hope that the decisions that matter will. From those words, from those years that changed. Then came something more. The Phoenix did fly. The Crystal Cavern, a sacred place moments before, was now a war zone. Energy blasts ricocheted off the crystalline walls, illuminating the frantic movements of Aris's crew and their newfound allies. Ilara, her luminous eyes wide with a terror she couldn't quite mask, clung to Aris's side, her hands trembling as they navigated the chaos. We need to reach the emergency exit. Aris shouted over the din of battle, her voice tight with urgency. Jay, can you secure a route? Working on it, Captain. Jay responded, her voice crackling over the comm system. But they've sealed off most of the main tunnels. We're going to have to take the secondary routes, smaller, unstable, and crawling with guards. Then that's our path. Aris replied grimly. Vorlag, clear the way. We need to move, now! Vorlag, a hulking mass of muscle and Crothian fury, roared his assent, charging ahead with his bone sword. Each swing of his weapon cleaved through the ranks of Kara guards, sending them flying with sickening cracks. But the guards were relentless, swarming them from all sides, their energy weapons spitting searing bolts of plasma. Sola, surprisingly, proved to be a formidable fighter. Despite her captivity and emaciated state, she moved with an agility and ferocity that belied her appearance. Years of pent-up rage fueled her movements, her fists and feet connecting with brutal efficiency, disarming and disabling the guards with a speed that impressed even Vorlag. They will not let us leave, Sola muttered with every hit. Not after all we have done for this. Aris pressed further, ignoring what Sola did, just to continue onward towards the next goal. Reaching their ship was one thing, what to do with everything else will have to become something that all can agree and not have everything fall apart. They just didn't want all hell to break loose. Not at all. But the tunnels were a treacherous maze, twisting and turning with unpredictable suddenness. As they navigated a narrow passageway, a section of the ceiling collapsed, showering them with debris and separating Aris and Ilara from the rest of the group. Aris! Ilara shouted, grabbing her arm and pulling her close. They are coming, the ones that we face will all mean for a world of hurt. They needed to make it up all the way fast or all will be moot, right? Show me what to do, Ilara, or it's going to fall. I cannot. If the two do not go, nothing might help with the others. All I can give you is hope and more or less it being over. This was it then, there will be no running away from what needed to be done. And something had to be done, and come right. All of it now makes sense in what they were running through with every chance they could muster. They could almost make it when, from the shadows emerged a figure, tall and imposing, clad in the ceremonial armor of a Kara high priest. His face was hidden behind a stylized bone mask, but Aris could sense the burning intensity of his gaze. You will not escape, outsiders. The priest intoned, his voice amplified by some kind of voice enhancer. The Earth Mother demands their return. This is something we have to see and more. There was more to it than what they had seen or had before with anything. What did it all come down to? Was this worth it? For them. Aris looked at the priest and then to her partner, Jay, and saw her signal. That meant what was to come should be done by just them. Aris was not going to give anything without letting the person truly know what was coming. Aris raised her pistol, preparing to fire, but the priest moved with surprising speed, deflecting her shot with a sweeping gesture of his hand. The air shimmered around him, a visible distortion of some kind of energy field. We got him! Vorlag shouted before he suddenly gasped with pain. A bone sword had pierced him through his chest before falling. There were many lives all around, ready to move and ready to die. Aris and Jay were outnumbered. The numbers didn't mean anything and they knew what that meant. Then the world shattered. A woman began to cry and moved near the big Crothian. There has to be some way we can help him. Ilara shouted at Sola and Aris. Aris with a deep breath responded and shook her head. Do not let his action to be taken as nothing. I'm sorry that this happened, and now we will make sure something more will come. I promise. Aris knew that this must be the moment where all may stand still, what can come, and what to do. And something had to change. But what did that truly mean? Jay rushed forward, leading the two away. Go now, or we will all die. Let the sacrifice that come forth from this be worth more than anything. Thank you both, said with a tear running down. And so it ended. No! Vorlag shouted as he gave his last breaths. The team, saddened, looked towards him with every last bit. They will need to give thanks to what he has brought, and to understand from this all must. The world would soon take another step on what may come and give his will upon the test. A soul has been born to the Phoenix. As Jay continued to pull her, Aris knew it was time to make a stand. If that was what could have happened, there will soon be something. She touched the button to self-destruct, as something from the sky had touched down. Now let's get out of here or there are going to be more death coming. The scene had been set. With all that comes it might be worth it or nothing at all. No matter what was said from here on out, one thing will be certain. That something needs to happen for all to mean anything. They moved forward now. With little left, it would all be for nothing if it didn't even try. They touched the hatch to fly into space, and what that to come, to mean to be something. Something for all to do. What comes with this power must be used for all to give something in return. Was it too late? What did all of that mean? We will soon learn. Aris heard nothing as she entered the vessel. In her ears was a white noise only matched by the sight of her team, her family, looking back for some sort of signal. She couldn't have done more. The only people who were worth everything were all here. They have won. The Phoenix was moving back into the orbit. As for the ones they have saved, it will take more than just a couple words for the years to be fixed. So they let them. As the ship pulled far, what was expected to be what the ship turned to dust and ashes, falling to the atmosphere and the planet below. It was gone. Everything that they had looked for was no more. To make a few steps back, one had to first take one forward. But was that all for naught? So, what are our steps now? The AI stated. As they have worked, they now have the planet of what was and never will be. What truly does any of that mean? It was then that Aris took a tear and said, We continue, we are not a relic from a time in the past, but the heart that will guide all the worlds to come. The Phoenix shuddered violently as it cleared the launch platform, its shields straining against the sudden onslaught of radiation. Alarms blared throughout the ship, adding to the cacophony of war that echoed in their wake. They were out of the cavern, but by no means safe. We've got multiple bogies incoming, Captain, Jay reported, her voice tight with focus. Chimera-class cruisers, same as us. They're deploying hunter-seeker drones. It's a kill box out there. Aris gripped the arms of her command chair, her gaze fixed on the tactical display. The pursuit was relentless, the Kara seemingly determined to prevent their escape at any cost. The Phoenix, though heavily armed and skillfully manned, was outgunned and outnumbered. Their only hope was to use the planet's turbulent atmosphere to their advantage, playing a deadly game of cat and mouse amidst the crimson dust clouds. Helm, take us into the vortex, Aris ordered, her voice calm and decisive. Engage evasive maneuvers. I want us to disappear into that mess. The helmsman, a young, pale-faced ensign named Torres, swallowed nervously but nodded, his hands moving with practiced precision across the flight controls. Aye, Captain. Brace for turbulence. The Phoenix plunged into the swirling vortex of the Crimson Divide, the ship buffeted violently by the chaotic air currents and radiation bursts. Outside, the sensors went haywire, the enemy ships reduced to ghostly blips on the tactical display. It was like flying blind in a sandstorm, relying on instinct and skill to navigate the treacherous terrain. They're on our tail, Captain, Jay reported, her voice strained. Their sensor technology can't match us, but they're using visual targeting. They can see us just about to take this all into account. Then let's make it harder for them to see, Aris responded, a grim smile playing on her lips. Engage chaff and flares. I want the sky filled with decoys. And prepare the rail guns. I want to hit them when they least expect it. With the enemy ships closing in, Aris knew that they couldn't get closer to those that needed her now. She needed them to trust what was about to come, or there would be nothing. Trust comes with a strong price, and there will come a result from all that was asked. Aris needed to ensure that they will know what was at stake when they boarded. They have lost so much, and have gotten nothing. It was time to give it all to come. With all that was here and known, they had to accept it. The time was closing. A red light came out and a warning. The ship is under threat, Captain, please go back to reality. I am all set, Aris said, and then the light flashed. There was a boom and the whole world went quiet for both of them. Then as suddenly as it was gone there was light. As soon as she sat back down, she gave those people the signal, trust in all the people and move forward. There was an almost immediate boom that was to be stated and more. The ship got pulled more into this place, but the ship remained strong and ready for the long test that was to go. With those next steps that did come together now was all they had to depend to what is going to show. The Phoenix burst free of the crimson dust storm, its engines roaring as it soared into the blackness of space. It had escaped the clutches of Xylos, but not without a price. Vorlag had fallen, his sacrifice a grim reminder of the cost of freedom. Aris stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the receding planet below. She saw the glow of explosions in the distance, the faint flicker of energy weapons fire, the last vestiges of a war she had inadvertently ignited. Had she done the right thing? Had she merely traded one form of oppression for another? Those were questions that she might never have answered. But one thing she did know, as she looked to those faces what needed it. Ilara and Sola were looking towards her. She spoke into the comm system, her voice clear and resolute. "This is Captain Aris Thorne to all crew. We have cleared the Xylos system. The ship will be refilling and setting a new path out. That was, and all must see for what the heart is for." With that declaration it was all or nothing for all. As they prepared for the jump into hyperspace, Aris took Ilara and Sola to heart. This was what was next. A new path and a new meaning. The world and those people needed it, to not turn into the fate of Xylos and for the test. This would give them hope. If they do not trust and see all there was to be, then the world will never mean a thing. Everything with power must and may be. "What is next?" Sola asked, her gaze fixed on the swirling tapestry of stars unfolding before them. The fiery defiance she'd worn on Xylos had softened, replaced by a quiet curiosity, a hesitant glimmer of hope. Ilara, ever at her bondmate's side, remained silent, her luminous eyes reflecting the distant nebulae, as if searching for answers in the celestial depths. Aris, standing beside them at the viewport, turned to regard the two Kara women. Their presence on the Phoenix was a stark reminder of the complex moral calculus she had just engaged in, a constant question mark hanging over her decisions. "That depends on you, on the people. On the world before the laws to take to mind. I have taken everything on this ship," Aris said, after a great silence. "You are free now. This isn't Xylos. You have a say in what happens next." "I wish to learn its everything or more than that, as you can hear," Sola responded to the Phoenix ship to learn the battle stations. "Not what I expected, I'm sure, but fine," Aris responded. "I will let you use our simulation pods to show the different things from your side. It all will have to be done right?" Sola was in a moment. "Show me strength of war from us. What was next? Where will you go? Where do you need to be? What could possibly stand?" The heart and everything they needed. All of this now will depend on what was said and what they need to truly help you. This may lead to those who are coming on to these lands. This is a first. To work with what all these people are going to do. It may be a problem or something that all needs to be. What we have learned will need to be spread. Sola just started at her before sighing. "And the crystal you had taken, it is still here. It cannot lie because this planet, this all feels off. The voices are not strong or more than what that is all. The voices will take what they can get and use what I can give or do." A memory that was never there. It was something that she has never known. Aris frowned. "If they know what the other ones will know, then what will be? This has to mean all or nothing, Jay. They are coming to, so now we will see what we'll have to take." The voice came to be. They did the scans as needed and had come what may with what would be. There were so many and the resources to do it are few. The world had to be told or known to where or for so all have to get down. There will never be an equal say if you get that to turn so easy on you too. With all the next that will turn this all into, and to show everything what will never mean if it had come from just a couple. This power must mean something. The ship begins to change course and look towards the system now where everything was headed towards before the Phoenix, and everything that has ever known may not truly be here. They now see the new world and what it had to mean. The planet they are about to come to has 3 suns. They are glowing into different light spectrums, making their worlds into a beautiful. But why go here then? What is so great that might make it turn? Those thoughts ran and were running high through Elias. What will all that might be? No one was there that knew. Suddenly all turned red and there was a message from the System Alliance. You have turned rogue and there will be an arrest. Come into our custody peacefully. What might that even mean for something like this to pass? Well, what is your decision? What all have done? You have come so far. What's next to do when all has to be there? This cannot be a turning point. It would truly be something great that can come forward, said Ilara. It was a test for all for what to do. But that choice, she was about to change it. We are not. We will go as we need, she declared, for one all to have. There are many more with great needs than those with power. She sent a transmission before everything closed. We have returned and we are about to come for you all what you want. You will remember this. Aris turned to the crew. We got a job now, those refugees and those in need. If that means that we are going to be known in bad names, well, it will mean one thing. For a better word to come. It was on there then. This had to mean something and more. Let's go. They will come through. That is everything that I know. Let all believe and to get their new home as we know. But for what? Solta called. Aris looked into her eyes and said what her goal must have been. The ship shuddered as all the fire power hit the shields. We are about to show what love is. We are not about to tell what it is, but what that was to come. Every shot will now be our time. And with that, in that instant, it had already changed. Take the shot to the center. But that will. Do it, Jay. I trust. What came next was known. We must make something different now. With each and every shot all fell and the phoenix flew into the world now with open fire, and the team knew what to believe. The battle was just beginning and the team was ready to show it. They had found a new purpose, for the people who need it the most. All from the heart.